So we are going to talk about barbecue safety today. In order to do that, we need to make some burgers. So I have 2 pounds of ground beef. This is lean ground beef. I don't want to use extra lean ground beef for burgers because I want that extra juiciness to a burger. If it's extra lean, you're going to end up with a dry burger. So a little bit of fat in your meat is not a bad thing. You can actually combine different meats. So you could do some pork and some beef, or some turkey and some beef, and that'll help to kind of give you extra flavors as well, but also to combine that fattiness for the good juiciness. Your turkeys and your chickens are going to be extra lean, and so that combination is pretty important. So I've pre-measured most of the ingredients today. Traditionally you'd use breadcrumbs, but I didn't have any, so I have some crushed up crackers here. So these were some crackers that I had in the house. They just look like this. And I just put them in the food processor to make them kind of crumbs. So I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of crumbs. Okay. I have some garlic that I've pre-minced. I like garlic in mine, so I'm going to put quite a bit. I have some pre-measured salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes because I like mine spicy. Now, you can chop up your onions. I decided to grate my onions so they're really, really fine and they'll mix in a little bit nicer. You can see there's quite a bit of juice in there. That's onion juice. That's going to help to make these even more juicy, so that's good. Okay. The breadcrumbs or the crackers are also going to act as binder, but this is also going to act as a binder. You guys know that already though. So I'm going to crack this into the onion dish and beat it. So it's pre-beaten before I start mixing in. I'm also going to add in some green onions because I love green onions in them. Okay. Now, one other thing I'm going to add, actually 3 other things I'm going to add. I'm going to add in some Worcestershire sauce. Now this is the no-name brand. There's lots of different kinds out there that you can buy. This was just the cheapest in the store. You can buy the one with the orange label, that's the original one. Worcestershire sauce is actually made with a vinegar base, and so it will help to tenderize your meat. It's kind of like a marinade for your meat. So I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Okay. I'm also going to add in a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, because I love the taste of mustard in all meaty dishes. All right. And because you guys know that I like mine a little bit spicy, I'm also going to add in a little bit of sriracha into my burger. So it's going to be a little bit more of an Asian-inspired burger. Nothing wrong with that, right? Just a tablespoon. All right, so I'm just going to get that egg beaten up and then I'll start mixing. I am going to mix this by hand because I don't want to over-mix it, and it's not enough work to need the mixer for. So I'm just going to use my hands for this. So you want to make sure you're taking off any rings or watches that you might have. We don't want to get meat bits in there. So now that our meat mixture has all been mixed up, and we just mix until you don't see any of the individual ingredients anymore, it all is kind of thoroughly mixed in. You don't want to overwork it or it could make the meat tough. I am going to start scooping this. I have a 1/2 cup scoop. You can just portion this out into 8 servings, but I find it easier to use a 1/2 cup scoop for it. So I'm going to scoop it, I'm going to put it onto some parchment paper, and then I'm going to make them into little patty shapes because this would be a really, really dense burger. So I'm going to make them short and wider. I'm going to level off the edges. I'm also, in the middle of the burger, I'm going to put a thumbprint, and that'll help to prevent the burger from rising in the middle. Maybe you guys have had a burger like that before, where the edges are kind of a normal size, but then it gets really wide or thick in the middle. So that thumbprint will prevent that from happening. You don't go all the way through, just a deep impression of your thumb. You can do this by putting it in the refrigerator for 2 to 4 hours, and that will allow all the flavors to kind of come together, all those good flavors that we put in there. I'm not prepared to use them today, so I'm actually going to freeze them. I'm going to put them in the freezer for up to a week. I'm going to put them on these trays for now, just until they're hard enough to actually put into a Ziploc bag. So right now they're very flexible. Once they're frozen, I'll put them into a Ziploc bag so they're airtight and the moisture won't be taken out of them by freezing process. So today we're going to talk about barbecue safety. This is my nice little barbecue. So we have a propane tank. There's a nozzle to turn on the gas. There is a lighter button, however mine does not work. A lot of people's lighter buttons don't work. One thing that I think is pretty essential to have on a barbecue is your thermometer. It tells you how hot it is inside. Now I did just clean this. There are a whole bunch of different tools that you can use to clean the grate of the barbecue. I just use a steel brush. The bristles are really long and easy to find if they do fall out. So the grill inside is pretty clean. And whenever you're starting a barbecue, that lid needs to be open. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure that this is in the off position, and then we're going to turn on the gas, which is simple as just turning it on. It only opens one way, and it only closes one way. So we're going to let that gas flow up through this hose into the regulator, back here, and then just give it a minute, and then we'll turn this on. So now I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to turn it to start, and I can hear, you probably can't, I can hear the gas starting to come on, and I'm going to light this barbecue lighter. Lit. Kind of see it down there. You can maybe hear it, and you can kind of see a flame down there. We're going to close this lid, and I'm going to wait for the temperature to preheat to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's how I know that this barbecue is ready to use. Before you actually start grilling, getting the meat on the barbecue, you do want to make sure that you get all your condiments and your toppings ready to go. So I have my onions, tomatoes, lettuce, my cheese that I'll put on just before the end, my bun, and then all the topping, the condiments, the mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, and green relish. This way, when they come out of the grill or off of the grill, you'll be ready to eat right away. Some people like to oil their grill before they actually put things on them. I actually prefer to put a little bit of oil on the actual product itself. So I just have a little bit of canola oil that I'm going to brush on right here, just to prevent any sticking. Alright, so my barbecue is well past the 350 degrees. As you can see, it's smoking hot. I didn't have to wait for it to get that hot. I was busy preparing the toppings while it was preheating. I'm going to use my nice long spatula to get this onto the barbecue. Now I know that my barbecue has some hot spots and some that are not as hot, so I'm going to put it over here on one of the hot spots. You can hear it sizzle. Now because this was touching raw meat, I'm going to go wash it and the plate. We don't want to have any cross-contamination. I'm going to leave this lid open so it's not baking, and I'll come back in about 2 minutes and I'll rotate it. So one of the ways I'm going to know that this burger is ready to be moved is when it's no longer stuck to the sides. So you can see it's kind of sticking a little bit. I want to wait until the heat has released the meat from the grill. I'm going to give that just another minute before I start to rotate. Alright, so I think we're ready to move this. We're going to pick it up. We're just going to rotate it 90 degrees. So we'll get grill lines going in this direction and in this direction. We're going to give that another minute and then we will flip it. Alright, so I think we're ready to flip our burger now. I'm just going to slide the spatula underneath. Okay, so we have our good grill lines there. Now that we flipped it, I'm going to throw some cheese on it And now I am going to close the lid, and that'll allow the cheese to melt, because it's going to become more of an oven in here versus just heat from below. Now the proper way to check if a burger is actually done is to use a thermometer. Because this is ground beef, we want to get to 71 degrees Celsius. We're not going to go from the top down, because that could potentially go through. So we're going to go in from the side to take the temperature. It is a little dangerous because you want to make sure you're not touching the side of the barbecue, because that'll burn yourself. So what I like to do is pick up the burger and move it a little closer to the edge. So you can see we're just over 71, which is perfect. My cheese is melted, so we're ready to go assemble our burger. I am going to let this rest on just the plate with a little bit of tinfoil on top to let the meat, let all the juices in the meat kind of settle before I actually start assembling my burger. So now before I'm done, I still have to turn off the barbecue. The best system for doing this is to actually turn off the gas before you turn off the barbecue itself. That will allow all the gas to dissipate out of the hose, so you don't have any lingering gases in that hose when you turn it on again next time. So I'm just going to turn this off by turning the knob to the right, because it's righty-tighty. And there you have a great barbecue dinner. Homemade burger with some fresh tomato, red onion lettuce, homemade bun, and some corn on the cob. Bon appetit! Enjoy using your barbecue safely this season.